Ahead on Early Birds, the division driver's seat is up for grabs in Tampa Bay. We'll break down how the Falcons get it done, and Shock hits the film room on how to keep this
DK Metcalf touchdown
from happening again. Plus, we'll get you ready to watch a High Five Sports star on a huge stage, and the entire Falcons roster took their Tuesday to give back. That and more on Early Birds.
Grab a cup of your favorite Joe and let's talk Falcons football on Early Birds, presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Good morning and welcome into Early Birds. He's DJ, I'm Justin, and Shock, got a quick question for you.
Yes.
How is it week 8?
That's unbelievable. I remember when the season first started.
Yeah, like last week.
Trying to get here. We're in week 8 already. That is pretty crazy.
It's getting real now for sure. We got a real one tomorrow afternoon. Let's kick things off with the opening drive. Shock, Falcons and Buccaneers, 1 p.m. here on Fox 5. And let's start things off with the pass rush for the Falcons. They're still last in the NFL in sacks. Baker Mayfield, DJ, meanwhile, he's going to be without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a big story. You think about it, he's been sacked 20 times this year, so that tells you he will hold on to the football, and now he doesn't have his security blanket in Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. Maybe he holds on to it for a little bit longer, and you finally are able to get multiple sacks and come out of the bottom tier of the National Football League when it comes to sacks. So this is a game where Baker Mayfield may try to hold on to it because he doesn't have his quote-unquote guys ready to go, and the Falcons may be able to get after him.
Yeah, here's a guy who's got a safety's eye view of the whole situation, Jesse Bates.
I don't think that really matters as far as, pointing the finger. All our pass rush isn't getting home yet. It's a collective, effort. We got to play with a little bit more juice, a little bit more tenacity, and just make it a nasty game. And that's what has to be the mindset of going to rush the quarterback.
Sounds like a good mindset to me as we continue the opening drive. The Falcons offense was rolling, and then the Seahawks game happened. So, DJ, here's my question. Was that a blip or a warning sign?
You know what? I went back and looked at the 3 losses. You averaged 13 points a game. In the 4 wins, you averaged 30 points a game. But the one commonality of all these was all these games were close except for that one. So that makes me think it was just a blip on the radar in this ballgame. It's something we hope never happens again. Both sides not really playing well all season. We've seen both units play really well throughout the ball games, and this one you just didn't see it happen. So I think it was a blip on the radar when it comes to how they played, and if it happened again, and hopefully not. Here's QB1 on it.
Probably utter fear of failing again. No, I think there's a motivator there of when your back's against the wall, you better come out swinging. And I've never felt safe in my football journey. I've never felt like I figured it out. I've never felt like I've arrived. And so when you have a tough performance, it only drives those feelings home even more.
Well, I'll tell you a guy who's got Falcons fans feeling good, Bijan Robinson, as we wrap up the opening drive. Lost in the disappointment of last Sunday. He had one of those games, DJ. How have you seen him grow, and how can Zach Robinson and the offense best take advantage of that growth?
Justin, I'll be honest, I thought this was his most complete ball game. You're talking about run the football, being able to make guys miss, running hard and physical, in between the tackles, and he did a lot of it. He was doing it out of the backfield as well. And there's so many things Zach Robinson can do for him, especially in space, but also as a decoy. He's been a big part of that as well. He has become a complete back, and hopefully they give him at least 20 touches every single ball game because he's that explosive.
And no fear in pass blocking either.
None
You
at all.
leave him out there the entire game. Impressive guy to watch. We'll welcome into Early Birds alongside DJ Shockley. I'm Justin Felder. And we mentioned it earlier. Let's go back to Mike Evans, the Buccaneers wide receiver. That's a really big injury. And the Bucs, they got the Falcons this weekend, and then a really tough run. They got the Super Bowl teams back-to-back, Chiefs, 49ers, back-to-back. Not a good time to lose your number 1 option.
Not a good time to miss number 1 or 2. You're talking about guys who make a big impact on that offense, and a guy that Baker leans on a lot. This is a huge loss for them, and I guarantee you the Falcons, the Chiefs, and also the San Francisco, they will not care about it. So you got to play, and that's part of the NFL and part of life in the NFL.
Falcons trying to take advantage of that tomorrow. All right, Shock, go walk the plank over to the telestrator. We will see you in just a few. But first, we talked about pass rush, but Baker Mayfield will still certainly put pressure on that Falcons secondary. In his 7th NFL season, Mike Hughes has started all 7 games so far, opposite A.J. Terrell at cornerback. Myles Garrett sat down one-on-one with Hughes this week, talked about earning that starting spot and making the most of it.
This offseason, It seemed like there was a really big battle for that cornerback 2 spot between you and Clark. Do you mind walking me through that battle and your reaction when you earned that starting role to where you are now?
Going into this offseason, obviously we didn't draft a corner, so kind of knew it was going to be, some question marks on the other side of AJ. All the coaches believed in me. Obviously, I believed in myself, and to get to this point, and a lot of that led to where we are now, and really just trying to dissect the whole defensive back position, trying to figure out different ways to look at certain situations that I've never seen before, or just having a different view to certain coverages.
Now you guys as a unit, just the secondary overall, it has a lot of accolades obviously with what Jesse's done, with what Justin and AJ have done. What have you learned, and has that helped your development getting to where you are now that you're sharing a starting field with them?
I'm playing with some all-pros back there, so it's always things that I can take bits and pieces from their game and kind of add it to mine, or just ask questions. Jesse's a great ball hawk. It could be little things that I can ask him about doing that, or punching the ball out, those little things, and that's kind of helped my game out a lot.
Jeff Okudah shared, a defensive backfield with Detroit and obviously with the Falcons as well. You guys both being former first-round picks. What have you guys learned together, being that former first-round pick, to kind of reestablishing yourself on another team and earning a starting role with the Falcons?
Just getting over that mental hurdle with the people that you surround yourself with is really important, and being able to talk about it too. I feel it's the same with Jeff as well, and we kind of had that, and in relation to our situation. So we kind of helped each other out with that, and just talking through different things, and that's just, like I said, that helped me get to where I am today.
It's time to get some game intel from Shock. You're invited into the film room, so cut the lights and let's get started.
Now, Mike Hughes talked about learning from a lot of different guys and also learning from in-game on how they can make themselves better. There's a situation in the last ball game where I think everybody in that secondary will learn from it. And this was at the end of the first half where Seattle goes down and they do a good job of getting this touchdown. So what happens here, DK Metcalf runs this corner and he runs post. Now this is cover 2. Some people may think it's cover 2 Tampa or cover 2. To Tampa, the only difference is this middle linebacker here runs through the middle. Now the one thing I thought happened on this particular play is we got a little wide over here and we got a little wide over here, which created such a huge lane right in the middle of the field for DK Metcalf to catch this touchdown right in the middle. So as this play gets started, let's watch how wide they get. Here's the route. Nice job on the outside by Wright. Now watch him lean on him here. Once he leans on him here, that forces him, I think, to get a little bit wider than he thought. Now this guy here is trying to occupy this safety, which keeps him way over here outside his hash. If not, he could have pushed a little bit this way, and now you have a void in the middle of here where DK is going to end up catching this football. So let's watch this play finish out, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about here. Now you see how wide they are? Look how wide they are. They're outside. They can't even make a play on this football, and this ball was thrown on time. Now he's got a good chance of making this play, and you can't allow the chunk plays. Again, watching right in the middle, this middle linebacker, if he's a little bit deeper, you got a chance to get back there, and ultimately you don't get this big touchdown play. Limiting the big plays, the explosive, which they gave up last week, cannot be what they do this week. Baker Mayfield, he's going to push the field. Justin, we got to make sure we don't allow Baker Mayfield to make plays like this on Sunday.
Yeah, Shock. The defense has been so good at preventing those big plays. They'll try to get back to those ways tomorrow in Tampa Bay. Thanks, DJ. We got a big college football day ahead. Michael Jenkins is just offset right now, absolutely dancing, because we're talking about his Ohio State Buckeyes as they get ready to face off with a former High Five sports star. Plus,
just the weight distribution. I feel like that's something that's not really talked about or known.
it's not all strength and speed on the O-line. Matthew Bergeron explains the finer points of O-line play. That's next when we go deep.
You're watching Early Birds, presented by Mercedes-Benz. The best, nothing. And sponsored by the Georgia Lottery. Today could be the day. And the Home Depot. How doers get more done. More Early Birds coming back at you. Early Birds. It's not Saturday down south without talking college football. Brought to you by Zaxby's. Famous fingers and sauces. Here's Shock.
Got my man Michael Jenkins in the building. Jenk, another big weekend of college football. It seems like down the stretch, every week seems like it's going to be big, right? I mean, how excited, because I know fans get excited about it. How excited are you about it?
I just love the parity right now in college football. I mean, your boys go to Austin, and Kirby says, "Hey, nobody on that network picked our team to win." I love that. I just love it.
You talk about parity. Give a shout out to Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State beat Liberty, who was undefeated. Kennesaw State was 0-5. They get their first FBS win. How cool was that?
Say it again. 0-5.
0-5.
Liberty was 5-0 with a chance. They still have a chance with win Conference USA, but that was an automatic bid to get into the playoff for Liberty, and then you go and lose to Kennesaw State, who's 0-5. So
shout out to Brian Bohannon.
That's why they play the game.
For sure, no doubt. Got to play. All right, let's talk one of the big games of the day. Notre Dame and Navy game. What a great matchup. Undefeated Navy with their 4th-ranked rush offense against a 1-loss Notre Dame. Will Navy just run all over Notre Dame, or will Notre Dame just be too much for Navy? Who has the advantage to you, Jake?
I mean, you still got to go with Notre Dame. Navy is having a great season. They're doing what they need to do. They're averaging 35 points a game by just running the football.
Made a flip.
Look at that. I mean, their quarterback is averaging 8 yards a carry, and he's only behind, guess who? Genty from Boise.
Boise.
But Navy has only played, Memphis, UAB, Tulane. Now they got to play.
First real matchup.
This is their first real test. So we'll find out a lot right here.
Here's Navy's head coach Brad Newberry on playing the brand that is Notre Dame.
These are the kind of games you want to play in, and it's a great thing about coming to school here. Navy gets to play a team like Notre Dame every year, and a big game on national stage like that. And, that's what you want. You want to play the best teams in the country and have that opportunity to do that. And
should be fun, man. All right, let's talk about your Buckeyes. Justin just talked about it. We teased to it. Nebraska, they got torched by Indiana last week, 56-7. But the young freshman in Dylan Raiola, how do you think he fares versus your Buckeyes defense? Even though he threw 3 interceptions last week, do you think he has another struggle this week versus your Buckeyes defense?
I hope so. He committed to us in the left. He committed to y'all in the left.
Very true.
But I think he ended up where he needed to be. Big family ties there in Nebraska with his dad and his family. But hopefully we can affect him. And he hasn't played well against the ranked teams who they've lost to with Illinois and Indiana. So. Both teams actually coming off a loss. So both teams trying to right the ship. But hopefully we can get to Dylan, affect him, and things go our way.
He played 66%, 9 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Here's Nebraska QB Dylan Raiola on what they learned about their team last week through that tough loss.
I think just competing, kind of showing our team that this is the culture we're building here, and I think it was valuable reps for me and some of the other guys, and it was important we competed to the end because that's what we do here.
All right, Jake, one more last matchup, a huge matchup in the SEC. LSU, Texas A&M, 2 teams that are literally right in the thick of it, man. I'm talking about in that college football race. 2 teams, it could be an elimination game for them. How do you see this game going down, and what do you think happens in Kyle Field in Texas A&M?
Man, that is a tough place to play. As you know, the SEC, both teams playing at a high level. LSU, you look at, they lost to USC early in the year. Now USC is struggling, but LSU is rolling. Texas A&M is rolling. Whoever wins this game is in first place in the SEC.
Who you got, Jake? Who you got?
Place. I got to go with LSU.
Okay.
I think
on
the road. I think LSU pulls this one out. I just don't see Texas A&M with the offense have enough firepower to keep up with Nussmeier in that LSU offense.
Jake, you've been crazy good, man, but I can't wait to talk next week when we go Ohio State, Penn State. We might have to spend a whole block on that. Justin, hey, Tech on the road this week in Blacksburg. You think the Jackets can bounce back this week?
Yeah, it was a tough one last week at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Looking forward to seeing what the Jackets have in store. And another shout out for Kennesaw State. You guys mentioned it. That was awesome seeing the Owls come up big Wednesday night. Thanks, guys. Well, the interior of the Falcons O-line will certainly be tested again tomorrow, especially by Bucs big man Vita Vea. He is 347 pounds of mess your day up. Second-year guard Matthew Bergeron continues to impress earlier in his NFL career. He's got a great understanding of all the little things that go into O-line play outside of those things that us on the outside might be watching on Sundays. Bergeron explains in this week's Going Deep.
Just the weight distribution. I feel like that's something that's not really talked about or known for people that don't know offensive line play. So just having your weight loaded a certain foot depending on where you're going.
How do you learn that and practice that and kind of instill that in you, if that makes sense?
I feel like just through practice drills and just, knowing yourself, because I feel like, like it's 5 of us on the line and we all kind of play differently. So I feel like just being in tune with yourself and what you can do and cannot do. So yeah.
Is part of it knowing their footwork and kind of what they're going to do as well?
Yeah. So we can all be in sync. Yeah, no doubt. I think that's a big part of it.
Why is footwork so important? Can you explain that?
Just balance, being at be at the right place at the right time, and just creating power and leverage to block the defender. You definitely got to be in tune because nowadays, now you're in the NFL, everybody's good, everybody's big, tall, fast. So you definitely got to be in tune with that, and it's something I had to learn, through practice, through reps in game, and yeah, I feel like I'm getting better at it. Not perfect, but I'm getting there.
Is it something that you ever watch film of yourself and you're like, oh, I didn't have my weight distribution right on this, and that's why XYZ happened? Like, do you kind of see that now that you kind of are aware of it?
Yeah, you can see it, and it pops out in film, like when you're out of place and a defender can knock you down, or you trip or fall. It's just because your feet wasn't right. Yeah, so yeah.
Fancy footwork always pays off. Cool stuff. Well, keeping the Falcons players healthy is a year-round job, even if we only see a small percentage of the work on Sundays. The team's head doctor will explain next on Early Birds.
Going Deep is brought to you by Zaxby's, famous fingers and sauces. We're getting your Saturday started right. Early Birds is back in a moment.
Welcome back to Early Birds. Well, when a Falcons player goes down during a game, we always see the team's medical personnel rush on the field and assess the situation, but their job is much more than that. And taping ankles and putting players through concussion protocol, things that we all know about. This is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year job. And that's the focus of this week's Emory Road to Recovery.
The behind-the-scenes medical process is dense. There's a lot of people involved. I'm blessed to have an amazing group of, colleagues of mine, partners of mine from Emory, staff that I work with in the organization, and it's a big group. People are working 24/7, and we're talking about the entire year, not just during the football season. So all through the off season, we're all working. We're taking care of athletes. We're preparing for the following season. We're, wrapping up the previous season. We're preparing for the draft and the combine, and so it's a year-long process. It takes a village, and we are blessed to have an amazing team. And again, the cohesion between the Emory team that I am responsible for, and then Jake and everybody who's in the building next door with the Atlanta Falcons and their responsibilities, it really works great. And again, we've done a really good job.
Yes, they do a great job. Every player on the Falcons roster came together to support those affected by Hurricane Helene. We'll show you the full team effort. That's coming up after the break.
You're watching Early Birds, presented by Mercedes-Benz, on your official home for Falcons football, Fox 5 Atlanta. Early Birds has been presented to you by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
I think it just shows there's more to life than football, and there's people struggling with real things in the world. And it takes us a day to really appreciate, how good we have it. And then also just it's a good refresh to step away and just get a little bit of perspective on life.
A really cool community event this week, Shock. One that you even did as a player, Hometown Huddle, right, where the entire roster gets together for a good cause. And this is something that's been going on with the Falcons for 17 years. This year, they were packaging supplies, boxes for Hurricane Helene relief.
Yeah, it's like a non-negotiable. And most players never even, squawk about it because you just know as the Atlanta Falcons, this is just something you do. And I think every guy enjoys it, and you can see the whole team a part of it. And it's just something about it. I know no other team in the NFL does this with the entire team. So how cool is that all these guys, no matter what your celebrity is, you're out helping and doing something kind for the community.
And Tuesday, it's their day off, so cool to see them coming in, giving back, whole team together. Excellent stuff in the Hometown Huddle. Be sure to join us for the Dirty Bird Report tomorrow night, talking Falcons and Buccaneers. That's at 11:30 p.m. And what's one more thing we're going to be talking about on DBR tomorrow night? You mentioned one player that we didn't see last time that is going to play this time.
Antoine Winfield Jr., a guy who is always around the football, similar to what we saw with Tyrann Mathieu in New Orleans. He is a similar player. Can we find a way to affect him and possibly get some deep shots over his head to be a big key in the ball game?
Maybe get the run game going, bring him a little closer to the line.
And then go over the top. I like the way you're thinking.
Would be interesting to see the offense get back on track. All right, that's it for us on Early Birds. For DJ Shockley, I'm Justin Felder. Have a good morning and a great rest of your weekend.